This is something that I found.
See, I wasn't sure.
Let me see. Oh, look, you can zoom in and actually show you. Let me. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were showing us your screen again by accident.
No. This is I completely had forgotten this. I'd probably read it as a kid and just never. It was like whatever. This was in Marvel Fanfare #1, the last page, as an open letter to Stan Lee from Jim Shooter.
Oh,
and it is awesome. So I don't know, Andrew, if you want to read it, but it's very good. It made me remember what comics.
But you got to read it like Shooter.
How would Shooter read it? Because I can't do it.
Or Bobcat Goldthwait.
Entertainingly.
Dear Stan.
Wait, legit or his character? Legit Goldthwait or his character?
Of course, come on.
Oh, I wish
read it. Read it like Dice Clay.
No, I wish I could read it like.
I liked it better when you.
Like what's his name? Luke Cage, not Luke Cage, Nick Cage.
No, read it like Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Dear Stan. I don't know. Okay, hold on.
Just read it.
All right, an open letter to Stan Lee. Dear Stan, we haven't had a chance to talk for a while, so I thought I'd drop you a line. No special reason. I just feel like blathering at you for a couple of paragraphs. Remember back when you were working here in New York, how every now and then, around 5:30 or so, after a typical chaotic day, I'd sort of wander into your office and lump down on the couch and we'd just shoot the breeze. It's about 5:45 p.m. now, and I'm in the same sort of mood. You're the Marvel Hollywood mogul these days, and I guess it's good that you're keeping an eye on all that TV and movie stuff. It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it, right? Blah. I liked it better when you were here, in the office, next door, down the hall. I know. You say you're just a phone call away. Bull. It just isn't the same as when I could pop in anytime with the latest revelation or crisis or good news or problem and flop down on your couch and be amazed or distressed or happy or puzzled with you. Right there, right away, face to face. That was always a better deal than I realized at the time. Where else besides this strange place could I have strolled into the big boss's office more or less whenever I pleased, put my feet on the coffee table and scarf down sour balls from the candy dish while complaining about the weather, the Mets, and how hard it is to explain the mysterious science of balloon placement to new writers. Oh, okay, I got what that. More important, who else would really, truly understand how hard it is to explain balloon placement to new writers? How many times did I thank the proverbial stars that you, the publisher, executive vice president, creative director, high muckamuck, whatever the heck your title is, had spent many years doing my job so that you really, really understood the problem. Even when you didn't have an answer, I felt better than whenever the current crisis was because, hey, if you didn't know what to do, it must be okay for me not to know. I'm really glad you were here during the final couple years of my time in this job, at least so that I could get my feet under me before you went west. I'm glad we didn't have 3 time zones and a telephone separating us back when we were struggling to get Epic launched, or the time that we had to trash a couple 100,000 copies of Battlestar Galactica Super Special. Oh no, that's horrible, because of the legal hassle. Geez, how many years has it been since I became EIC? 4, I guess, already? Wow. I remember the day in December of 1977 when you asked me to have lunch with you downstairs at the Ultimate Lotus. I was an associator then. I figured we were going to discuss the Spider-Man Daily Strip, which I was plotting for you at the time, but instead you wanted to tell me that Archie Goodwin had resigned to become a writer again, and that you wanted me to replace him as editor-in-chief. You told me then how much grief it would be. You warned me that I'd be faced some big problems and tough decisions in the months to come, and that doing the job right meant enduring a lot of abuse from a lot of people. Whew.
Almost there.
This is very small print, guys. I'm really trying really hard.
You're doing great.
I'm actually looking at the.
There's a magnifying glass to your top.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that's all right.
Okay.
All right. Okay, wait a minute. You also told me to deal with grief, big problems, tough decisions, and abuse. The grief, you told me, is standard fare. In publishing, you've got to expect a lot of late nights making deadlines, a lot of boring memos about budgets, a lot of aggravating meetings about schedules and other nonsense. The problems, you said, come daily. The latest books are always the ones that get lost in the mail. Stat machines only break down when you need them desperately. All the inkers are busy when you've got jobs to give out, and all of them need work when everything is backed up at the letterers. The toughest decision, you told me, can be avoided. A lot of bucks stop at the desk of the editor-in-chief. Choices must be made. Creative choices, business choices, who to hire, and sometimes who to fire. As for the abuse, you warned me that there was a lot of things that needed changing, things that had been neglected for years. The changes needed, you said, would very likely leave some people upset. Furthermore, you told me that no matter what I did, somebody wouldn't like it. And people who don't like you, like what you do, often attack you. You said that there was no defense against the abuse except one, to always, always deal fairly, honestly, and honorable with everybody. In the long run, you said people would learn that you could be trusted and judge your comics accordingly.
Critics.
Oh, and could trust and judge your critics accordingly. Sorry. Above all, you said never answer the abuse in kind. Well, 4 years into the trip, I can tell you without a doubt that you were right about everything. In fact, I've been a bit rougher than you warned me. It's been a bit rougher than you warned me it would be. It's also been better than I ever imagined it could be. I took a stroll around the place this afternoon, and I realized for the 1,000th time that the people who work here are not only the best group of comic editors, artists, and productive people ever assembled, they're truly the best people I know. What a place to work. Creatively, we've begun to open up a whole new era with our graphic novel series Epic, an all-direction title Fanfare, and other great stuff. And personally, I couldn't be happier. I love my job. It's getting late. Time to go home, I guess. Hey, would you believe that 2/3 of the people in the pen are still here working? Well, we'll all love our jobs, I guess. Thanks, Stan. Sign, Shooter. P.S. I almost forgot. Say hi to the Marvel production folks and Joan for me. That's all for now.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That
makes me like the dude.
As I was reading it, I kept getting slightly lost because I was like, "Damn, that's profound." And
isn't it?
Yeah.
So I kept.
You did a good job.
I kind of tripped over myself several times, but that was good.
It's amazing. It's talking, especially when it talks about abuse and it's just all the stuff going on. It's like that's there you go. You go.
Never answer abuse in kind. That's a
pure.
Somebody needs to Twitter this to the Comic Skate guys. Give them
pure professionalism.
Yeah.
Pure professionalism. Yeah.
How did Shooter lose his job as editor-in-chief? I don't remember. I mean, I was reading comics during his
retire?
time period, but
no.
He got kicked out of Marvel.
He got kicked out.
He was fired. I remembered. Yeah. He was very the stories where he was very, very tough, and he hurt too many feelings, and enough people complained, and they let him go because of it. But
that was like a golden age almost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was a real tough SOB. Yeah, and he was young. He was very young, and he was a tough SOB. And they produced some of the best books ever. And maybe a little bit of future casting. With people with hurt feelings and couldn't take it and didn't like how tough he was. They got rid of him, and then things laxed up. I mean, granted, there was the 90s, which was a boom, but they lost it.
Yep.
So was he kicked out in the 80s or the 90s? Because I remember, I was reading the X-Men at the time that he was the editor-in-chief.
That was the 80s, because he went to what was it? Plasma. Plasma was not the brand. Plasma was the
one of the main titles.
The main titles.
He started a company called Defiant.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Defiant and Broadway Comics was what it was. Yeah, he went from Marvel to Valiant, and then pretty much started Defiant and Broadway, and neither one of those ever did anything. So.
But I remember, like in one of the X-Men that I would read, that Wolverine would disappear for like 4 issues. and then Wolverine being in his own limited series during that 4-issue time span. It was just awesome. It was
Yeah,
like
they actually that's when they actually cared and plotted
Yeah.
out like where the
Yeah.
characters would be in a legitimate continuity timeline. Like
I
he
remember-
can't be in Spider-Man this month. We've got Wolverine and X-Men this month.
yeah,
Right.
I know. That,
I remember
that
in
was
the early-
incredible.
In the early aughts, I was out of comics, but I would see a whole bunch of videos on how Wolverine would be here, which was half a world away or in space or whatever. But that same month, he would be over here, and it's like they're overutilizing. And then they kept.
They really did. I mean, during his reign, they actually did a really good job of like using that exact point. Like they would in the same month, they would have if they had Wolverine in space, you'd have the Wolverine in space adventure. But then in the X-Men comic, they'd be like, they try to contact Wolverine and be like, he's in space. Like it would actually like tie together, and that's when you would have the editor note go check out this comic.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense. It was a giant continuity run, and not like today where it's like there's 8 X-Men books and Wolverine and Cyclops are in each one, and they each have different relationships in each book. Like they're either
Remember when those
in this one-
editor-
in X-Men book 1 they're fighting, in X-Men book 1A they're kissing.
Remember when those editor notes would go way back? Like it would go, and you'd go look for that book, and it'd be like $15 or $20 because it's like
Yeah,
5 years old, 6 years old.
it was
yeah.
Valiant. Valiant was wait, Defiant was Plasm. He went from Valiant to Defiant. That's right.
Yep.
Because he started Valiant.
It said here, Jim Shooter is an American writer, editor, and publisher for various comic books. He started professionally in the medium at the age of 14. That I did not know.
Yeah, he was young. He was editor-in-chief by like 18 or 19, wasn't he?
And his most notably the success and controversial run on Marvel Comics, 9th editor-in-chief, and his work as editor-in-chief of Valiant Comics.
So what? He was born in 61, right?
51. He's 68
Okay,
years old now.
51. So that letter was 1981.
So he was 30 years old at that point.
Yeah, and he'd been editor-in-chief for 4 years.
So 26.
26, 27, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he was ousted from Valiant in 1992, and he started Defiant Comics. And I remember working in the comic book store when those came out, and they did Plasm.
The problem with Valiant and the Plasm stuff was that was Defiant, right?
Yeah.
The problem with Defiant was that it was the Valiant problem. The problem that Valiant Comics always had was Valiant was the first publisher, in my knowledge. All I was going to say is that Valiant was the first comic publisher that I know of where they said it's not about the art, it's about the writing. And where Marvel, and that was their differentiator, where Marvel and DC at the time were art focused, they decided to be writer focused. And the writing was excellent, but the art was average. And then Defiant took it another level where they were writing focused, but the art was a little lower than Valiant was. It was really like, I just remember like maybe it was just Plasm, but I remember like soft pastel colors and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was when I worked at the comic book stores when Image started, and everybody knew Image was the artist, Valiant was the writer. Those were the reasons why people bought them, and I barely ever picked up a Valiant title until Bart Sears did Turok and so forth,
and Barry Windsor Smith,
Archer and Armstrong and so forth. But yeah, when it came to what I liked, it was the artist. So that's why Image, worked for me better. But
worked for everybody better.
Yeah, well, they're still around. Well, Valiant's still around, and they've hired Heather Antos. So I mean, there you go. I wonder if Jim Shooter would be crying in his sleep right now. Oh. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for checking out our video. If you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and join us again. We live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We usually go for about an hour. We do drawing, we talk about comics, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Make sure you leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down either way, and we'll catch you all next time.